American things Europeans can't understand. American things Europeans can't understand. Let's see. Let's see. I was scrolling through the comment section. Oh man, that comment section is fire. It's like, my goodness, it's like a war zone down there. I have to stop scrolling because man, we are clearly different. Yeah, we're clearly different. Hey, I'm okay with that. I'm okay as an American being different than Europe. I'm okay with that. For some of you guys, woof, go all the way, like all the way to the top. But hey, it's okay. We can handle it. I'm gonna react to this. Let's see what happens.
Over the world in films and on TV, and also abides by some laws and practices that many consider unusual. Europeans in particular seem to have a hard time wrapping their heads around some of them. From child beauty pageants to gun laws, let's take a look at some American things that Europeans can't understand. Sick of commercials. If you're a European enjoying a cozy night in on the couch in America, some of the stuff on TV may shock and surprise you. And no, I'm not talking about Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I'm talking about commercials, which arrive so frequently it makes watching TV feel almost unbearable to anyone unaccustomed to it.
There's a lot of commercials.
Seals leaks instantly. Use it on
Especially pharmaceutical commercials, which usually show grumpy men and women turned into smiling, happy people by the product being sold. These are usually followed by an almost comically long list of potential side effects spoken at double speed, like Ambien ad.
As well as abnormal behaviors such as being more outgoing or aggressive than normal, confusion, agitation, and hallucinations may occur.
Yeah.
Don't take it with alcohol as it may increase these
And
behaviors.
the reason you have to just first reason you have to say this fast is because of the time of the commercial, right? The longer you have the commercial, the more money you have to pay. And secondly, to avoid lawsuits. Isn't that crazy?
Allergic reactions such as shortness of breath, swelling of your tongue or throat may occur and in rare cases may be fatal. Side effects may include
take
next-day
it.
drowsiness, dizziness, and headache. In
There's so
patients
many
with depression,
secondary,
worsening of depression, including risk of suicide may
effects.
occur.
Don't take it.
These types of direct-to-consumer commercials peddle prescription drugs, which is an advertising standard that was rejected by the European Commission back in 2002. The Commission stated that pharmaceutical companies were unable to provide impartial information on their medicines. If that's the case, why is it practiced in America? To put it simply, there's simply never been a federal law passed to outlaw the practice. This is in no small part thanks to the fact that direct-to-consumer drugs and their accompanying ads are a huge business. And in America, whether it's right or wrong, the rules tend to follow the money. Europeans might actually need a pill for the headache all those ads give them. May cause drowsiness, loss of limbs, telepathic powers, and a violent hatred of cheese. No place like home. Let's say you're a European who's just moved over to America. You found a house in a nice
You're not going to handle it. European, you come to America, you're not going to handle it, man. If I go to Europe, I can handle it easily. I've been in Europe multiple times. Not a bad place. I like it, very clean. But for Europeans, it will be hard to assimilate. In today's America, that is.
residential neighborhood and you're going through your bills. Rent, water, gas, electric, all seems in order. But wait a second. What's a homeowners association fee? To a native, that's a pretty obvious question. But for Europeans, it's an unwelcome surprise. These fees contributes to the local homeowners association, which is somewhat like a neighborhood watch, but managing funds to be reinvested into the community. It goes towards things like residential maintenance and common spaces, which keeps residents happy and property values up. With around 24% of all Americans living under a homeowners association, they pay $200 to $300 on average per month in fees to these entities. Now, while some Europeans might struggle with this concept, it was a form of governance that was actually invented by France back in 1804.
Really?
The condominium law was exported to the U.S., where it became incredibly popular.
Wow.
So, for any European that wants to complain about homeowner regulations and fees, feel free to blame the French.
I didn't know that.
Vacant vacation days. The USA has one of the largest economies in the world. A tremendous economy, in the president's words. But Europeans looking to get into the American world of work are often shocked when it comes to vacation time.
There's
U.S.
nothing.
workers are not entitled to mandatory paid vacation at all. Usually, the issue of paid leave is left at the discretion of employers. And yes, that does.
But there's a high. Most of the jobs that you're gonna have in the United States, they will pay for your vacation. Right, most of them, right? That's I would say like at least 50%. For example, the job that I currently have, they pay for vacation. If I go to vacation, they'll pay for that vacation. So it all depends where you go. But I know this is not a common practice in Europe.
Does include national holidays. According to research from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2017, only 77% of American workers had access to paid vacation. Now, the reason that might leave Europeans slack-jawed is because mandatory paid vacation time in Europe starts at 4 weeks. In fact, America is one of the only Western countries where law doesn't enforce companies to give its employees mandatory paid vacation time. Don't believe me? Take a look at this map breaking down mandatory paid vacation time by country. Only the great countries are known not to give paid time off. It's a working culture that undoubtedly favors employers over employees. Americans might want to think about learning Chinese instead, as employers in China must legally offer 5 days of holiday. Although that is after one continuous year of work. Win some, lose some, I guess. Florida man. If the American states could be looked at as a dysfunctional family, then Florida would be the weird uncle who once ran away with the circus and wrestled a tiger. The Sunshine State is the third most populous state in the USA and receives over 100 million visitors year on year. With so many people living between Miami Beach, Disneyland, and Pensacola, a little crazy is bound to be found on the fringes of society. But what Europeans aren't prepared for are the crazy antics of Floridians that make daily headlines. From Florida man believed that he was half man, half dog in March 2019 to Florida man robs bank, strips naked, then runs down the street throwing stolen money everywhere in July 2017. You can search the internet for almost...
That's crazy, right? Florida's kind of crazy. I don't know why, man. It just... Florida, one of those states that just... Some weird stuff is always happening down there.
Any day of the year and find a headline announcing Florida man has committed an utterly baffling crime. There doesn't seem to be an equivalent for any European countries, although the UK comes close with some of its questionable journalism topics like
Britain's fattest woman ate fridge and died.
Let me know the funniest local headlines you've ever seen at stories@bmas.com. VAT trouble. In Europe, like most of the world, tax is built into the price of items in-store and online. So what you see on the tag is what you pay. But Europeans visiting an American store might be left doing a double take at their bill when they reach the register. There is no national sales tax or value-added tax in America. Instead, American taxes differ by jurisdiction, of which there are around 7,000. Differences in these local rates, state taxes, or combined state and local taxes means that final prices for the same item can differ from one street to the next. For first-time shoppers in the U.S., this unpleasant surprise is a rite of passage that no one asked for. Tipping point. A meal at a restaurant can be a real treat, but Europeans visiting America sometimes stress about the tip. Although tipping anywhere up to 20% seems normal to most Americans, there's no such obligation in Europe. Indeed, it's mostly seen as a bonus reward for good service, and in some European countries...
And it should be like that. And I agree with the Europeans on this. I don't give 20% tip. That means if you spend $100 in a meal, that means you have to give $20 out of the gate. I usually give 10%, 15%, and 12%. And that if the meal was good. If the meal was shitty, I would just give $1 just to let the waitress know, hey man, you did a terrible job here. I'm not going to give you more than this.
Countries, it's even considered rude and excessive to leave a tip. The American federal government, however, states that tips can be used to satisfy the difference between the employee's hourly wage and the standard minimum wage. This means food servers, valets, and in-house staff in certain states can be working for a federal wage of just $2.13 per hour, which is about €1.96. So if you're a European visitor to the States, get ready to factor in your tip to the overall price of your meal. you might well be contributing to a struggling waiter's rent.
Well, to be
Child
honest,
beauty pad.
To be honest, they don't struggle. Waiters don't struggle. I mean, it looks horrendous, but some of these waiters they're earning between 200 to 315 $200 to almost $250 a day easily. So don't feel bad about it. Remember, these people are taking tables every day, hundreds of tables every day. All right, let's say in an hour, you're working with a solid 10 tables, right? Think about it. Now, every time that they finish, let's say they give $5 or $6 per table. That's $60. Boom. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that bad. Don't feel bad. And they're working at hours. Now, you have the hourly pay plus the tipping. So you making good money. Good money. So don't get scared by the numbers. We tip our waiters very well.
Pageants. If you've ever been unfortunate enough to have watched an episode of Toddlers and Tiaras on TLC, I think you might side with the Europeans on the next matter. Child beauty pageants are common across America and usually consist of dolled up little girls being thrust onto a stage to entertain a crowd of screaming moms. It's truly bizarre, but what's equally strange is how the craze got started. Child pageants originated from American Better Baby contests in the early 20th century. Babies would be scored on characteristics like weight, quality of skin, and face shape, supposedly in the name of helping to educate mothers on best practices for healthy babies. But of course, it wasn't just for education purposes. There were also cash rewards and trophies for top-ranking toddlers. This has slowly devolved into the bedazzled tradition of pushing a child on stage in full makeup and styled hair.
I'm so against this, so bad. This is mostly in the South, I guess. But I'm so against that. You're sexualizing the kids very early on.
Do a dance routine for prize money. Although some European countries host similar but smaller events, others like France have gone as far as to ban all such pageants, claiming they're an unhealthy way to treat young girls. If you ask me, their general creepiness alone should be enough to slam the brakes on child beauty pageants. Honey boo boo? No thanks. Size is everything. According to an old saying, everything's bigger in Texas. But if you're a European, you'll probably think that about all of America, right down to its people. It's no secret that America has a little bit of a weight problem. 2/3 of American adults classify as overweight, and it's estimated that almost 40% of adults in the U.S. aged 20 and over are obese. Contrasted to Europe, where a survey carried out in 2014 labeled just 15% of adults obese. That's a king-size difference, with a side of fries. The American tendency to overeat might have something to do with portion sizes in the States. A study comparing portions in Paris and Philadelphia revealed food outlet portions were 25% larger in Philly. And a review of 17 different single-serve foods like yogurt and candy bars found that 14 of them were bigger in Philadelphia. While a one-state to one-country comparison doesn't necessarily represent the whole, Europeans on social media often comment on how much bigger everything seems stateside. Have you noticed this difference in portion sizes?
Well, we do have good portions. I mean, if you eat in a diner here, for example, Wisconsin, you get your regular size burger. It's going to be like this, right? Like this. French fries and a coffee in a soup. I think that's a nice portion. You'll be filled. You don't have to eat a third meal. You call it a day kind of thing, eat lunch. I think that's fine. But I there's some overweight people over here, man. Like, really overweight.
Let me know in the comments below. Bonus points for food puns. Oh, sugar. Living in America can really give you a taste for the sweet life, but your teeth won't thank you for it. Why? Well, some American foods and drinks have been found to contain huge amounts of sugar compared to their European equivalents. Some common bread brands contain up to 6 grams of sugar per serving, 6 times the amount found in European counterparts. But it doesn't end there. Taking a look at Pizza Hut's sugar content reveals most of their stateside pizzas have close to double the amount of sugar per slice as European versions. And in Starbucks, a UK venti white chocolate mocha will contain 62.4 grams of sugar. But in America, that shoots up to 72 grams. I've heard of sweetening the deal, but any Europeans making the trip across the Atlantic might leave suffering from the toothache. Gaps in the market. European standards of building a public restroom involve plenty of privacy, mainly in the form of cubicles with doors that are more door than gap. Seems obvious, but it's a standard that Americans just can't seem to adopt. With ridiculously large gaps at the top, bottom, and sides, it makes for a truly uncomfortable first visit to an American toilet for unwitting visitors. On their first time, Europeans are left feeling especially susceptible to unwelcome visitors and peeping Toms. Some people even resort to taping up the gap to prevent prying eyes looking in. But as strange as the design seems, there are some theories as to why Americans build their stalls this way. For a start, high floor gaps allow for easier cleaning, and they do make it simpler to pass toilet paper from one cubicle to another. On top of that, the vertical gaps act as a deterrent for anyone thinking of doing anything naughty behind closed doors. But there's always the chance you might accidentally get a real eyeful. Maybe just close your eyes before entering any American restrooms. Triggered. It strikes many Europeans as a bit odd that in America you can pick up your groceries from one aisle of a store and a gun from another. Indeed, you can buy guns over the counter in places like Walmart, and ammo can be found in pharmacies.
I don't know where it's at because I've been in Walmart all over the country. I haven't found a gun. Maybe in Tennessee, West Virginia, you might find that, but folks, don't believe this is in all Walmart. And believe me, I've been around when it comes down to Walmart. I've been in Walmart in Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Wisconsin, what other state? Well, I've been around some of the southern states as well, and I haven't seen guns. It has to be one of those super red states that they're so red state that you can buy a gun kind of thing, but I haven't seen that.
But seeing as guns are still legal in many parts of Europe, what is it that Europeans find weird about the gun-loving, rifle-wielding, Second Amendment-touting American citizen? It might have something to do with America's gun-related death rate, seeing as per capita, there were 12 gun-related deaths for every 100,000 people in America in 2017. Very few European countries exceed 3 gun-related deaths per 100,000 people, and none even come close to America's 12 per 100,000. The causes of the problem are fiercely debated, but it might have something to do with how easy it is to buy a gun. Background checks are usually carried out, but a research survey from Harvard in 2015 estimated that a third of American gun owners have purchased a firearm without a background check.
The problem is that how many of those gun-related deaths were caused by legal owners? And you will find out that for 10 deaths caused by guns, 9 out of those 10 is by illegal guns. So you can't do anything. Even if you ban everything, let's say you ban all the guns in the world, in the United States, a lot of the guns that are driven illegally are from Mexico, from the southern border, especially for Colombia. Why is that? Because we have the same problem in Puerto Rico. You have people just carrying, a lot of automatic weapons when they're illegal in the United States, or they're carried out from Colombia all the way top to the island. So you can't stop that. Because remember, the guns are only applied for those that are, law-abiding citizens. People that are selling cocaine, heroin, these people are getting guns from Mexico and Colombia. There's no way you can stop them. And you check those big states that have very gun control. California, New Jersey, New York. They are the worst problem when it comes down to gun death. The worst.
In Europe, many countries like Austria and Germany require would-be gun owners to go through a rigorous 7-step procedure before owning a gun. High-caliber handguns are outright banned in the UK, and many categories of semi-automatic weapons are illegal to own across Europe. It's simply much harder to legally purchase a gun in Europe than it is in the US, which I'm sure is a trigger point for some. Have you noticed any all-American quirks of your own? Let me know in the comments section below.
What was that? In Museum make a project that was never built. Man, that's kind of cool. I would like to react to that. Oh, what's that? Is that a pimple? This is not the video for this. I'm a pimple fanatic, so I'm not gonna get into that. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, because this is crazy. Well, I'll see you in the next one.